You didn't believe she was dead?
For a long time. I just refused to accept that she was gone.
For years, people have wondered if there was more to Princess Diana's death than what the world was told. Many believe it wasn't just an accident, that powerful people might have been involved. Now, something shocking has come to light. Prince Harry has allegedly revealed a full list of names, people who may have had a role in what really happened that night. This changes everything. For so long, the truth has been kept in the dark, but now the doors to the past are opening, and what's behind them could shake the world. If these names are real, it means that Diana's death wasn't just a tragic event. It was something far bigger, something that powerful people never wanted anyone to know. But if this information is out, what happens now? Will justice finally be served, or will the truth be silenced once again? Prince Harry's struggle with the official narrative. For years, Prince Harry has struggled with what the world was told about his mother's death. While the official story has always been that Diana's car crashed in Paris because the driver was drunk and paparazzi were chasing them, Harry has never fully believed that. Deep down, he always felt there was something more. Something people were not saying out loud. In different interviews over the years, Harry hinted that he had questions. Questions that were never answered. He once said he didn't trust the people who carried out the investigation. It felt like everyone was too quick to blame the driver or the paparazzi, but no one ever looked deeper. Harry made it clear that even as a child, he wondered why his mother didn't have proper protection that night. Why were they driving so fast? Why was no one there to save her? His anger toward the media is no secret. In many of his interviews, Harry has shared how much he blames the press for his mother's death. He believes they hunted her like an animal, chasing her until the very end. He also feels the media never took responsibility for what happened. Instead, they wrote story after story, made money off Diana's tragedy, and moved on like nothing happened. Harry's book, Spare, gives us a closer look at his pain. In the book, he writes about how he used to ask his driver to go through the same tunnel where his mother died, hoping to understand how it all happened. That image alone shows just how much this loss has haunted him. And then came his Netflix docuseries, where he and Meghan Markle opened up even more. In one episode, Harry almost breaks down as he talks about how history was repeating itself. He saw how the media was going after Meghan the same way they went after Diana. That's when Harry said something that made everyone stop and think. He hinted there was more to the story of Diana's death. Something darker. Something the world still doesn't know. But the real question is, why now? Why would Harry choose this moment to leak the full list of people involved? Some say Harry has reached a breaking point. After leaving the royal family, losing his royal duties, and fighting endless media battles, maybe this is Harry's way of finally setting the record straight. He's no longer tied to the palace. He's no longer scared. Maybe for the first time in his life, Harry feels free enough to tell the truth. Or maybe it's because he now has children of his own. Maybe he looks at Archie and Lilibet and thinks, they deserve to know what really happened to their grandmother. Either way, if this leak is true, it's one of the biggest royal bombshells we've ever seen. The alleged leak, who is on the list? Now let's talk about the leaked list that everyone's talking about. Before we dive into the names, let's be clear, this is still speculative. It's not officially confirmed by any government or court. But the sources say the leak came directly from Harry or someone very close to him. The list is shocking. It includes powerful people. People you'd never expect to be connected to Diana's death. First, there are mentions of senior royal advisors. No specific names have been released, but words like high-ranking royal figures are being used. People who had a lot to lose if Diana married Dodi Al-Fayed. People who worried about how Diana's choices would change the future of the monarchy. Then, there are whispers of British intelligence agencies, especially MI6. Some reports say that MI6 was tracking Diana in her final days. They were worried about what she might reveal or who she might marry. It's a scary thought, but if true, it means her death was not just a tragic accident, but something far more planned. French authorities are also being questioned in the leak. Many people have wondered for years why the French police handled the accident the way they did. Why was the crash scene not secured properly? Why did it take so long for Diana to get to the hospital? Why were so many reports filled with mistakes? According to the leak, some believe the French authorities were either covering something up or were part of a bigger plan. The leak doesn't stop there. It also points fingers at media moguls and certain tabloid editors. These are the people who paid the paparazzi to chase Diana that night. Some of these media bosses had close connections to the royal family and the British government. Could it be possible that they were working together to silence Diana once and for all? And of course, we can't ignore Mohammed Al-Fayed's long-standing claims. Dodi's father has always believed that Diana's death was planned. For years, he said that powerful people didn't want Diana to marry his son because of their Muslim background. He believed they feared that the future King of England would have a Muslim stepfather, or even Muslim siblings. This motive, according to the leak, might be the real reason behind everything. It's chilling to think about. If this list is real, it means Diana's death was never about a drunk driver or a speeding car. It was about power, fear, and control. And now, with this leak, the world is being forced to look at everything all over again. The royal family's reaction to the leak. As you can imagine, this leak has sent shockwaves through the royal family, but publicly, they are silent. There has been no official statement, no press conference, just complete silence. It's almost like they're hoping if they don't say anything, the story will disappear. Behind closed doors, though, the royal family is probably in panic mode. This is not just another tabloid rumor. If the list is real, it puts some of the most powerful people in Britain in a very bad light. For King Charles, Prince William, and other senior royals, this leak could reopen old wounds and start new fights. Some experts believe that the royal family's no-comment strategy is their way of controlling the situation. If they speak, they might confirm the story is true. If they stay quiet, people are left guessing. But one thing is certain. This leak will make the already deep rift between Harry and his family even worse. There's almost no coming back from this. Potential repercussions of this leak. The big question now is, what happens next? What kind of trouble could Harry be in for leaking something like this? Some legal experts say that if Harry named people without hard proof, he could face lawsuits. He might be accused of defamation or breaking national security rules. There's even a chance his security could be taken away, leaving him and his family vulnerable. But it's not just Harry who could face trouble. This leak might force the British government to respond. People around the world are already calling for a new investigation into Diana's death. If that happens, the royal family and many powerful figures could be dragged into the spotlight once again. For the monarchy, this leak is a nightmare. Their image has already been damaged over the years, from scandals to royal exits. And now, this? The very foundation of the royal family, trust, honor, and duty, is being questioned. If the public starts to believe that the royals had a hand in Diana's death, it could change everything. What does this mean for Prince Harry's future? With everything that's happening, one can't help but wonder. What does this mean for Prince Harry? Is this the final straw? Is he done with the royal family for good? Some people believe this leak is Harry's way of burning the last bridge. Maybe he knows he can never go back. Maybe in his heart, he feels that telling the truth about his mother is more important than being part of the royal family. But there's another side to this too. Some say this leak could actually bring Harry more support. People who lost faith in the royals might now see Harry as the only honest voice in a family full of secrets. This could be his moment to finally break free and create his own legacy. One that's not tied to the crown. Still, this is dangerous ground. If the leak leads to legal action or threats, Harry could lose everything: his royal titles, his protection, even his connection to the UK. But knowing Harry, maybe he's already accepted that. Maybe, for him, the truth about Diana is worth any price. And who knows? Maybe this leak will finally push the world to demand justice for Diana. Maybe, after all these years, her death won't be just another tragic story. Maybe, because of Harry, people will finally get the answers they've been waiting for. The truth has a way of coming out, no matter how hard people try to bury it. If what Prince Harry revealed is real, this could change everything we thought we knew about Princess Diana's death. But the big question remains, will justice finally be served, or will those in power do everything they can to keep it hidden? Make sure to stay updated, because more shocking details could surface at any moment.
England's rivers are filled with a chemical cocktail of sewage, agricultural waste and plastic.
In a shocking turn of events, Prince William's son, Prince George, has just broken silence, and the world is shocked. For years, the young royals have stayed under the radar, but the unexpected words from the young prince have left the public in complete awe. What could he possibly have to say that's so bold? The royal family is now in the spotlight like never before. You won't believe what Prince William's kid just revealed. Prince George's growing role. As a royal Prince George, the eldest child of Prince William and Princess Catherine, has long been in the spotlight, but recently he has been doing something that's left everyone talking, and it's not just his adorable smile. As he matures, Prince George is stepping into a bigger role within the royal family, and let's just say, the world wasn't prepared for what happened next. Known for being in line to the British throne, George's presence at royal events has become more frequent. But it's his actions that have been turning heads. Recently, during a royal event, Prince George did something that shocked everyone and made headlines around the world. In a rare moment of confidence, George spoke out on a major cause: environmental protection. Yes, you heard that right. At just 10 years old, George shared his thoughts on sustainability and the importance of protecting the planet. His eloquence and passion for the subject were unexpected, especially for a child of his age. This wasn't just a fleeting comment. Prince George is growing into a young royal who isn't afraid to express himself and take on responsibilities that his predecessors might not have at such a young age. The moment he spoke about such a critical issue sent shockwaves across the media, proving that George isn't just the future king. He's already starting to carve his own path. The royal family, known for its careful balance of tradition and modernity, is clearly embracing George's individuality. His parents, Prince William and Kate, have always made it a point to raise their children with a strong sense of independence, and it shows. They want George to be more than just a figurehead of the monarchy. They want him to be someone who understands the world and the challenges it faces. As he grows older, Prince George's role will continue to expand, and with moments like this, he's already proving that he's ready for it. His ability to tackle serious issues at such a young age is just one example of how the monarchy is evolving with the times. With the world watching, there's no doubt that Prince George will surprise us even more as he prepares to one day lead the British people. If this moment was any indication, Prince George's future as a royal is going to be far more exciting and impactful than anyone could have ever predicted. Prince George's rare public statement. Prince George, the young heir to the British throne, has always lived his life under the constant gaze of the public eye. But recently, he did something that left everyone completely stunned. In a rare public statement, the 10-year-old son of Prince William and Princess Catherine spoke out about a topic that no one expected, and it immediately went viral. It all happened during a royal event, where Prince George, usually seen quietly by his parents' side, stepped forward and shared his thoughts on an issue that's been on everyone's minds: the environment. Yes, Prince George, at just a decade old, publicly voiced his concerns about the future of our planet. In an age where environmental issues dominate headlines, his statement had an instant impact. George expressed his desire to help protect the planet for future generations, showing that even at such a young age, he is aware of the world's challenges. What shocked everyone wasn't just that he spoke out, but how eloquently he did it. This wasn't the usual childlike comment you'd expect from a royal youngling. Prince George sounded mature and thoughtful, showing an understanding of the urgency around climate change that many adults might struggle to communicate. It wasn't just a casual remark. This was a powerful, rare statement from a future king that demonstrated his growing awareness of global issues. This bold move is a reflection of the new generation of royals. Prince William and Kate have always raised their children with a focus on responsibility, empathy, and social awareness, and George's statement is a clear sign that the royal family is ready for change. Prince George isn't just a figurehead. He's growing into someone who could use his platform to make a difference. The world was left in awe after hearing George's comments, and rightfully so. His rare public statement shows a royal future that's not just about pageantry and tradition. It's about using their position to create real change. The question now is, what will Prince George do next? With this unexpected moment, Prince George has proven he's more than ready for his role as a future leader. And if this is just a glimpse of his future, then we can't wait to see what comes next. Unexpected impact of his words. When Prince George, the young son of Prince William and Kate Middleton, made a rare public statement recently, he did something that shocked the world. He spoke about an issue that most people wouldn't expect from someone of his age, let alone a future king. His words left a lasting impact, sparking discussions across the globe. So, what exactly did he say? And why did it cause such a stir? It all started at a royal event, where Prince George, known for his reserved nature and typically staying in the background, surprised everyone by speaking out on a serious topic: the environment. With the world grappling with climate change, pollution, and the future of our planet, George's comments on how important it is to protect the Earth resonated deeply. The surprising part? He didn't just repeat a scripted message. His words were thoughtful, heartfelt, and showed an understanding far beyond his years. The impact was immediate. News outlets picked up the story, social media exploded, and people from all corners of the world were buzzing. Many were taken aback by how mature and aware Prince George seemed. For a royal child, especially one so young, this kind of public stance is rare. It wasn't just a moment of royal tradition. It was a young heir stepping forward and making his voice heard in a meaningful way. But why was this such a big deal? The royal family has always been seen as figures of stability and tradition. Rarely do they break away from formality to express personal thoughts, especially the younger generation. When George spoke out, it signified a new era in which the royals might become more relatable and involved in the pressing issues of our time. In a world where many leaders are slow to act on climate change, George's words felt fresh, urgent, and hopeful. Moreover, his statement shined a light on how Prince William and Kate have been raising their children to be socially conscious. This wasn't just a random comment. It showed that Prince George is being taught to think critically about the world and his future role within it. This rare glimpse into his character has left many wondering if he will continue to use his platform for causes like climate change, social justice, and human rights. So, what can we expect from Prince George moving forward? His words have set the stage for a royal future that may be less about ceremonial duties and more about real-world impact. The unexpected consequences of his speech have made the world realize Prince George isn't just a child waiting to inherit the throne. He's already beginning to shape the legacy he'll one day lead. Prince George's role in modern royal family. Prince George, the eldest child of Prince William and Kate Middleton, is stepping into a bigger role than ever before in the royal spotlight. As the future King of England, his journey is already capturing the world's attention, and he's proving that he's more than just a cute face in the royal family. His growing presence is changing the way people view the monarchy and its future. From his first public appearances as a toddler to his recent participation in royal events, Prince George has been slowly carving out his place in the royal family's ever-evolving narrative. But it's clear that he's not just following in his father's or grandfather's footsteps. Prince George is paving the way for a modern monarchy that's connected with today's world. His role is becoming more prominent as he grows older, and with it, expectations are rising. Prince George has already displayed a level of maturity beyond his years. Whether attending official events, participating in royal tours, or even engaging with the public, his presence has never been just about being seen. Every appearance seems to signal that George is getting ready for a future where he will be an active player in shaping the royal family's legacy. One of the most notable aspects of Prince George's role is how he's being groomed to take on modern-day responsibilities. Unlike the royals of the past, who focused mostly on ceremonial duties, the younger generation is expected to be more hands-on with social issues. Prince George is growing up in a world where climate change, social justice, and global peace are front and center, and it's clear that his parents want him to be aware and involved. It's no surprise that he's already shown interest in charity work and environmental causes, two areas that are close to his parents' hearts. As the future king, Prince George's role will continue to evolve, and his ability to connect with the public will be key. The monarchy is no longer just about tradition. It's about relevance in the modern world. And Prince George, with his growing confidence, is showing that he's ready to be a part of that change. His impact, though subtle now, is only set to grow as he matures into his role. Prince George's journey into the royal spotlight proves one thing: the future of the monarchy is in good hands. With his natural charisma, intelligence, and deep connection to the modern world, Prince George is set to play a key role in the royal family for years to come. Parental influence on George's development. Prince George, the future King of England, may only be a child, but the impact of his parents, Prince William and Kate Middleton, on his development is already clear. As the eldest son in the royal family, his upbringing is not only being watched by the world, but is also crucial in shaping the kind of leader he will become. From a young age, Prince George has been molded by his parents' values, which are centered on kindness, responsibility, and a sense of duty. Unlike some other royal children, Prince William and Kate have made a conscious effort to raise George with a sense of normalcy. They ensure that he has a strong bond with his siblings, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, and tries to give them a childhood that is as private and carefree as possible in the public eye. Prince William, who has always been vocal about wanting his children to experience a normal childhood, has placed great emphasis on family life. Prince George has already been seen enjoying simple activities like playing with his siblings and spending time with his parents in the countryside. This focus on family values is something that will help him grow into a grounded and compassionate future monarch. Kate, on the other hand, has been equally influential in George's development. Known for her commitment to raising her children with a strong moral compass, she is actively involved in teaching her children about kindness, empathy, and the importance of giving back. Kate's interest in early childhood development has also played a key role in shaping George's education. She is a firm believer in the power of play, and it's clear that George's childhood is full of both learning and fun. One of the most notable aspects of Prince George's upbringing is the balance between royal duties and personal life. While he attends public events with his parents and is already a key part of royal engagements, his parents ensure that his childhood isn't overshadowed by royal obligations. Instead, they prioritize his well-being and personal growth, focusing on developing his emotional intelligence, social skills, and sense of responsibility. As Prince George grows, it's clear that the influence of Prince William and Kate Middleton will continue to guide him. Their parenting style, which balances tradition with a modern approach, will shape him into a monarch who is not only beloved by the people, but also capable of leading with empathy and understanding. It's no surprise that the future King of England is being raised with such a strong foundation. It's clear that George's parents are already preparing him for greatness. Global reaction to George's statement. When Prince George, the future King of England, made his rare public statement, the world was stunned. This wasn't just another royal appearance or a charming moment caught on camera. It was a statement that sent shockwaves through global media. People from all corners of the globe stopped to listen, as the young royal's words carried unexpected weight, sparking conversations and debates worldwide. The moment came during a casual royal event, where Prince George was asked a simple question. But what he said left many in awe. His words, though coming from a young boy, were remarkably mature and insightful, reflecting the core values he has likely been instilled with by his parents, Prince William and Kate Middleton. His statement quickly went viral, circulating across news outlets, social media platforms, and even forums, as people tried to decode the meaning behind his words. The reaction was nothing short of extraordinary. Royal fans, experts, and commentators all scrambled to interpret what this rare public statement meant for the future of the monarchy. Some viewed it as a sign that Prince George was already stepping into his royal role with confidence, showing maturity beyond his years. Others marveled at how grounded and thoughtful the young prince seemed, considering the immense pressure that comes with being part of the royal family. International media outlets were quick to cover the statement, with many praising the balance between George's youthful innocence and the wisdom of his words. British tabloids highlighted how the young royal's demeanor was remarkably composed, especially for someone so young, while global networks like CNN and BBC dove into a deeper analysis of the impact his statement could have on the monarchy's future. On social media, the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Fans of the royal family flooded platforms like Twitter and Instagram with their thoughts, with many calling George's words inspiring and wise beyond his years. Hashtags like #FutureKing and #Prince George Inspires started trending as people shared their admiration for the young prince's composure and thoughtfulness. But not everyone was completely taken aback by George's statement. Some critics questioned whether his public remark was too polished for his age, speculating that it might have been carefully scripted by his parents or royal advisors. However, many agreed that regardless of the origin, the statement reflected a new era in the royal family, one that values transparency, relatability, and modernity. Potential shift in the royal family's public engagement. The royal family has long been known for its dignified silence and carefully crafted public image. But a recent shift in public engagement may signal a dramatic change in how they interact with the world. Prince George, the young heir to the throne, has been at the center of this transformation, and his latest actions have sparked conversations about what's next for the British monarchy. For years, the royal family has followed a relatively traditional model, appearing at high-profile events, making brief public statements, and largely staying out of the spotlight when it comes to personal opinions. However, with the younger generation stepping up, particularly Prince William and Kate Middleton's children, it seems like a fresh approach is on the horizon. One key moment that fueled speculation about a shift came when Prince George made his rare public statement that left everyone stunned. His words were not only mature for his age, but also surprisingly candid, offering a glimpse into a royal family that is more open and relatable than ever before. This moment seemed to suggest that the royals are ready to step into a new era of engagement, one where they communicate more directly with the public and show a more human side. The potential shift in the royal family's public engagement could have far-reaching implications. Historically, the monarchy has maintained a barrier between themselves and the public, with every word and gesture carefully controlled by advisors. But as we've seen with Prince George and his siblings, the next generation is more comfortable with modern communication tools and isn't afraid to speak their minds, whether it's on social media or in public speeches. What does this mean for the future of the monarchy? Experts believe that this could signal a more interactive approach to royal duties, where the royals take a more active role in shaping public discourse and connecting with the people they serve. Social media, in particular, could play a significant role in this transformation, offering the royal family a platform to share their personal thoughts and experiences in a way that wasn't possible before. Future of Prince George as a monarch. The future of the British monarchy is in the hands of the next generation, and all eyes are on one young royal, Prince George. As the eldest son of Prince William and Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, Prince George is next in line to the throne, and his future role as monarch could bring about dramatic changes for the royal family. But what can we expect from him as a future king? From the moment Prince George was born, the world has eagerly watched his every move. Now, as he grows older, he's showing signs that he could be a different kind of monarch, one who's more relatable and connected to the modern world. His recent actions, including his rare public statements and his increasingly confident presence in royal duties, have led many to wonder, could Prince George redefine what it means to be a king? In the past, British monarchs have been seen as distant figures, always maintaining a formal and somewhat aloof image. However, with Prince George, there's a shift happening. He's growing up in a digital age where social media reigns, and the lines between public figures and their audiences are becoming more blurred. Could this mean that Prince George will be the first monarch to truly embrace the digital age and engage directly with the public through platforms like Instagram, Twitter, or even TikTok? Beyond his use of technology, Prince George's role in the royal family is already evolving. As he takes on more responsibilities, such as attending public events, representing the family, and gradually assuming more official duties, we can expect him to become a much more hands-on monarch than his predecessors. His upbringing, shaped by Prince William and Kate Middleton's modern and progressive values, is likely to inspire him to lead with a focus on transparency, empathy, and relatability. The future of the monarchy under Prince George could also see a shift in how the royal family engages with global issues. As the world faces challenges like climate change, inequality, and political instability, the royal family may take on a more vocal role in addressing these topics, particularly with a younger monarch at the helm. Prince William and Princess Catherine's parenting. When it comes to parenting, Prince William and Princess Catherine, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, have taken a refreshingly modern approach that's earned them widespread admiration. As the parents of 3 young children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, they've carved out a style that balances tradition with the realities of raising kids in today's world. But what exactly makes their parenting so special? And how are they shaping the future of the royal family? First and foremost, Prince William and Catherine have made it clear that family comes first. Despite their royal duties, they prioritize their children's well-being and personal development. From attending school events to taking family vacations, the couple goes to great lengths to ensure their children experience a childhood that's as normal as possible given their royal status. This focus on family has made them relatable to the public, earning them respect and admiration from commoners and royals alike. But it's not just about being present, it's about being engaged. Catherine, in particular, has often spoken about the importance of providing her children with a strong emotional foundation. She encourages them to express their feelings and be kind to others, a practice that's both gentle and progressive. Prince William shares similar sentiments, making it clear that their goal is to raise confident, compassionate children who understand the importance of empathy and kindness. One of the most striking aspects of their parenting is their commitment to teaching their children resilience. Both Prince William and Catherine have been open about the struggles they've faced in their own lives, particularly with the pressures of public life. By sharing their own experiences, they hope to show their children how to cope with challenges, face adversity, and bounce back stronger. Another key part of their approach is encouraging independence. Rather than sheltering their children from the outside world, the Duke and Duchess are fostering a sense of independence by allowing their children to engage in everyday activities like school projects, sports, and even charity work. These experiences help Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis develop a well-rounded perspective on life and their royal responsibilities. George's potential influence on the future monarchy. Prince George, the eldest son of Prince William and Princess Catherine, is more than just a future king. He's a symbol of a new generation that could reshape the British monarchy. At just 10 years old, George's potential influence on the future of the royal family is already sparking curiosity and excitement. As the world eagerly watches his every move, it's clear that George could be a pivotal figure in transforming the monarchy for years to come. One of the most exciting aspects of Prince George's future is the way he's being raised. Unlike previous generations of royals, who grew up in a more traditional and reserved environment, George is experiencing a more modern upbringing. His parents, Prince William and Princess Catherine, have emphasized the importance of giving George and his siblings a grounded and relatable childhood. This down-to-earth parenting style could make George a more approachable figure when he eventually takes the throne, something the monarchy has been working towards for years. But George's potential to influence the monarchy goes beyond his upbringing. His presence in the public eye is already breaking royal norms. From attending public events with his parents to occasionally showing glimpses of his personality in the media, George is becoming more relatable to the people of the UK and beyond. In a time when people are increasingly looking for authenticity from their leaders, George could be the royal who leads the way in connecting with the modern world. In addition, George's growing role in the royal family could bring new focus to key issues like mental health, education, and sustainability, topics that are important to younger generations. His parents have already shown a deep commitment to these causes, and it's likely George will continue this legacy. As he matures, he could use his platform to advocate for change and lead initiatives that resonate with people all over the world, ensuring the monarchy stays relevant and progressive. Moreover, with George's eventual role as the future king, there's a real possibility that he will usher in a more streamlined and modern monarchy, one that places greater importance on personal connection and social impact. His youth, intelligence, and grounded nature could make him a royal figure who doesn't just inherit the crown, but also redefines it. In the end, Prince George isn't just the future king, he's the future of the monarchy itself. With his potential to connect with the people, embrace modern values, and create positive change. George could be the monarch who leads the British royal family into a new, more inclusive era.
Everyone says that babies change so much over 2 weeks. We're basically sort of monitoring how they're changing.
Prince Harry never expected this day to come so soon. A strong man, always standing tall, now left in tears after seeing something that changed his world. His children, Archie and Lilibet, have grown in ways no one saw coming. The little ones he once held in his arms are no longer the same, and the change hit him harder than anyone could have guessed. As a father, he dreamed of giving them a happy and peaceful life away from royal rules. But now, something about them is different. Something so powerful that it brought out emotions he couldn't hold back. Those who know him say they've never seen him like this before. What really happened to his children? And why did it move him to tears? The truth behind this moment is something no one expected. The unexpected moment that touched Prince Harry's heart. It was a normal sunny afternoon in Montecito, California, where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle now live with their two beautiful children, Archie and Lilibet. Far away from the noise, the paparazzi, and the royal expectations, the family has built a peaceful life. Simple, quiet, and full of love. But sometimes, even in the most ordinary days, life surprises us with moments that hit right in the heart. And that day, Prince Harry found himself standing still, his eyes filled with tears, watching his children do something that he never expected. What unfolded in front of him wasn't dramatic or grand. It was simple, pure, and deeply emotional, the kind of moment every parent lives for but can never predict. It was a moment that reminded Harry of his mother, Princess Diana, and everything he had left behind in his royal life. It was the kind of moment that made him realize maybe all his tough choices were worth it after all. Archie's unexpected act of kindness. That afternoon, Archie was playing outside, his little feet running around the garden, chasing butterflies and laughing freely, the way children should. The sky was clear, and the air smelled like fresh flowers. Meghan sat nearby, watching her children, while Harry stood at a distance, smiling. For once, there were no cameras, no flashing lights, just family. Suddenly, Archie stopped. He spotted something that made him pause. A tiny bird, fallen from its nest, laying helpless on the grass. The poor thing looked weak and scared, fluttering its tiny wings, but unable to fly. Most children might have ignored it or called out for help. But Archie did something no one expected. Slowly, carefully, Archie walked over and knelt down next to the little bird. He looked at it with the softest eyes, full of concern, as if he could feel the little creature's pain. And then, in the sweetest voice, he whispered, "It's okay, little bird. I'm here. Don't be scared." He reached out his small hands but didn't touch, just staying close, letting the bird know it wasn't alone. Harry watched this unfold, and his heart ached in the best way possible. Right there, in that moment, he saw his own mother. Princess Diana was known for her kindness, her ability to care deeply for the most helpless. She used to comfort the sick, hold the hands of those everyone else ignored, and always chose love over everything else. Watching Archie, Harry felt like his mother's spirit was right there. Not in some big royal event, but in this small, beautiful act of kindness. He couldn't stop the tears. They filled his eyes and rolled down his cheeks because he knew Diana would have been so proud. Lilibet's beautiful
Internet sleuths are guessing that Kate's absence may be related to her husband and the future King of England, William, having an affair.
The room was quiet. Everyone was waiting. Prince William was standing, looking nervous. Then, the paper with the DNA test was handed over. He read it. His face went pale. And just like that, he fell to the floor. People rushed to help him, but the damage was already done. The truth was out. The test showed something no one ever expected. Rose Hanbury's son was his. For years, people had talked about it in whispers, stories, rumors, secrets, but nothing was ever proven. Until now. That one paper, just a few lines on it, changed everything. It told the world that the boy wasn't just a friend's child. He was family. Royal family. This wasn't just a small secret. It was something that could shake the palace, the people, and everything they believed about the future of the royal family. And in that moment, as William lay on the courtroom floor, the weight of it all was too much to carry. A royal collapse. No one expected. The courtroom was quiet, tension thick in the air. Then came the moment that would rock the British monarchy. Prince William, the future King of England, reportedly collapsed in his seat after a shocking DNA result confirmed the impossible. The son of Rose Hanbury, his alleged long-time rumored mistress, was not just any child. He was his. That one result, sealed in a confidential envelope, didn't just confirm a scandal. It confirmed a betrayal that had been hidden behind royal gates for years. And the aftermath? Utter chaos. The British monarchy, already stumbling from modern scrutiny, was now facing the most devastating personal scandal since the days of Princess Diana. But how did we get here? Why was this DNA test even necessary? And what happens now that the truth is finally out? Let's take a deeper look at the royal crisis that no amount of crown jewels can cover up. The affair rumors that refused to die. It all began with whispers, quiet at first, but persistent. In royal circles and British high society, people had long speculated about Prince William's relationship with Rose Hanbury. She wasn't just another aristocrat. She was a former model, the Marchioness of Cholmondeley, and a woman who once shared a friendship with Kate Middleton. But around 2019, something shifted. Kate reportedly demanded that Rose be phased out of their social circle, and that raised eyebrows everywhere. The British press, always cautious with royal matters, didn't report much. But the internet? It was ablaze. Social media exploded with theories, comparisons, and timelines. Photos were dissected. Eye contact at events was analyzed. And most damning of all, people started noticing Rose's son and his uncanny resemblance to a young William. As the rumor mill churned, it became impossible to ignore the growing suspicion that something more than just friendship had occurred behind palace doors. The secret court case. The palace tried to hide. While the public debated gossip, something serious was happening behind the scenes. According to inside sources, a legal case was quietly filed, not in the royal family's name, but possibly by a guardian, extended family member, or third party connected to Rose Hanbury. The question at hand: the true paternity of her son. The proceedings were kept as private as possible. The British legal system, especially when it comes to royalty, allows for strict confidentiality orders. No cameras, no reporters, no leaks. But even the tightest royal lid can't hold forever. Documents were sealed, court schedules altered, and entire days went unrecorded. The palace's legal team worked overtime to keep everything out of public view. But with internet sleuths always watching and public curiosity growing, the secrecy only fueled the fire. The silence spoke louder than any denial. The DNA test that changed everything. Eventually, the court ordered what everyone feared: a DNA test. Just one swab could either end the rumors or confirm the royal family's worst nightmare. Prince William reportedly cooperated, but under the assumption that the test would clear his name. After all, he had denied the rumors for years. Surely it would come back negative. But it didn't. Sources close to the case say that when the test results were read, the courtroom fell into stunned silence. The child was his. The result was definitive. And Prince William, stoic, proud, and groomed for the throne, reportedly collapsed into a chair, overwhelmed by the weight of the truth. It wasn't just the shock of fathering a secret child. It was the realization that his private sins were no longer protected by royal privilege. Rose Hanbury's chilling silence. Since the beginning of the affair rumors, Rose Hanbury has remained silent. No interviews, no clarifying statements, no denials. And in the wake of the DNA confirmation, that silence has become even louder. Observers noted that her public appearances have been carefully managed. always brief, always tense. There's no joy in her eyes, no pride, just pressure. Some believe she was paid off. Others suggest she was threatened or heavily pressured by the monarchy to stay quiet. Either way, her refusal to speak has only deepened public suspicion. If she had nothing to hide, wouldn't she say something? But silence is its own statement. And in this case, it's the kind that tells you there's a bigger story lurking in the shadows. Rose isn't just staying quiet for her son. She may be shielding the entire House of Windsor from a scandal so large, it could upend everything. Kate Middleton, the betrayed princess. And then there's Kate, the woman the world once adored as the People's Princess 2.0. Elegant, composed, and fiercely loyal to the crown, Kate has endured more public pressure than most could imagine. But in recent months, her complete disappearance from royal life raised more than a few eyebrows. The official explanation was abdominal surgery, followed by a recovery period. But no surgery explains months of silence. No illness can account for a complete shutdown of appearances and communications. And with the DNA scandal now exposed, everything makes sense. Kate Middleton was not healing from surgery. She was healing from heartbreak, betrayal, public humiliation, the collapse of the perfect royal image she built over decades. What do you do when your husband, not just a man, but the future king, has fathered a child outside your marriage? What do you tell your children? How do you smile for cameras knowing millions are waiting to read your face? Sources claim Kate has been struggling emotionally and has considered separation. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: Kate is not just a bystander in this mess. She's the real victim. Buckingham Palace in full panic mode. No surprise, when the DNA results surfaced, Buckingham Palace scrambled into damage control. Every crisis protocol was activated. Legal teams sent gag orders. Media houses were warned. And palace insiders began feeding tabloids with fluff stories to distract from the real storm brewing behind the gates. This isn't the first time the royal family has dealt with scandal. But this is personal. This is explosive. And it's happening in an age where no secret stays buried. Gone are the days when royal affairs could be swept under a velvet rug. Now, the truth lives forever on the internet, and the palace knows it. There are whispers that senior royals are considering drastic image-saving moves. A rebranding of William, a potential public reconciliation with Kate, or perhaps, if things spiral, a quiet agreement for William to step back from royal duties for health reasons. The British royal family is at a crossroads. The truth about Prince William and Rose Hanbury's son is no longer a rumor. It's a confirmed reality. And with that truth comes a ripple effect that could change the monarchy forever. Will Kate Middleton walk away? Will William ever regain public trust? Can the palace keep this story from growing even bigger? Or is this the beginning of the end for the next generation of royals? No matter what happens next, one thing is certain: the crown is heavier than ever. And for Prince William, the future king who collapsed in court, the burden of truth may be the one weight even royalty can't carry. The truth is out, and nothing will ever be the same. As the royal family faces one of its biggest scandals, the world is left with more questions than answers.
The People's Princess is dead across the country, across the world.
I think when you are bereaved at a very young age, anytime really, but particularly at a young age, I can resonate closely to that. You feel pain like no other pain, and you know that in your life it's going to be very difficult to come across something that's going to be even worse pain than that.
The story of Princess Diana's death is one that touched millions of hearts around the world. Her tragic passing in 1997 left an indelible mark not just on the royal family, but on the public as well. Her two sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, were at the center of this tragedy, and they experienced grief in ways few can truly understand. But for years, Prince William has remained notably silent about his mother's death, choosing not to publicly discuss his feelings or the impact it had on him. This silence has intrigued many people, sparking questions about why he chooses not to openly share his emotions regarding such a pivotal moment in his life. William's grief journey. The death of Princess Diana in 1997 left an indelible mark on the royal family, particularly on her two young sons, William and Harry. At just 15 years old, William found himself in an impossible position. His world had been shattered, yet he was still expected to fulfill his duties as a royal. Grief, for William, couldn't simply be dealt with in private. It had to coexist with the very public role he played as the future king. One of the most striking moments of this struggle came during his mother's funeral. The world watched in shock as William, along with his younger brother Harry, walked behind Diana's coffin during the procession. This was a public display of mourning like no other. For the young princes, it was a deeply emotional moment that required them to put on a brave face and fulfill a royal duty. Imagine the weight on their shoulders, grieving the loss of their mother while knowing millions of people were watching, their every step scrutinized by the press. For William, this wasn't just a royal duty. It was a moment that forced him to balance his personal grief with the expectations placed on him as the future monarch. As he walked behind the coffin, there were mixed emotions: sorrow, anger, and perhaps a deep sense of duty to his mother's memory. While the world mourned Diana, for William, this was a personal, raw experience that few could truly understand. Over the years, William has rarely spoken about his grief in public. However, when he has shared his feelings, it's been an emotional experience for both him and his audience. In a 2017 BBC documentary marking 20 years since his mother's death, William opened up about the confusion and pain he felt during those early days of grief. He described how, at the time, he couldn't fully process what had happened. Like many who experience sudden loss, William was left questioning why this had to happen to him and his family. "I remember just feeling completely numb, disorientated, dizzy," William said in the documentary. For a young boy of 15, the loss of his mother in such a violent and sudden manner was almost too much to comprehend. The emotional confusion he felt then was something that stayed with him for years as he struggled to make sense of the pain. It was clear that, for William, the grief wasn't something that could easily be explained or understood in words. It was a process, one that would take years to unravel. This deep emotional conflict continued for years as William tried to navigate life as both a grieving son and a future king. In interviews, he has often mentioned how difficult it was to reconcile the private side of his emotions with the public role he was expected to play. There's a powerful contrast in these reflections. On one hand, he was a young man mourning the loss of his mother, and on the other, he was part of the royal family, expected to uphold the dignity and traditions of his position. The tension between these two sides of his life was undoubtedly overwhelming at times. Despite the public nature of his life, Prince William has always emphasized the importance of privacy in his grief journey. In fact, he has often spoken about how critical it was for him to have space away from the media and public attention during those early days after Diana's death. Obviously, back then, we didn't have smartphones or constant media coverage. We were fortunate to have the privacy to mourn, to collect our thoughts, and to have that space away from everybody, William said in the 2017 BBC documentary. This privacy, granted by the royal family, was a rare gift. It allowed William to process his emotions without the added pressure of being in the public eye. In many ways, it gave him the chance to just be a boy who had lost his mother, rather than a royal figure who was expected to be strong for the public. This sanctuary was invaluable as he navigated the complexities of grief, away from the constant scrutiny of the media and the royal duties that often left him little time for himself. William has mentioned that the role of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, in helping shield him from the overwhelming media coverage during this time was crucial. In one interview, he recalled how his grandmother made an effort to protect him and Harry from seeing the intense media frenzy surrounding their mother's death. It was a tough decision for the Queen, balancing her responsibilities as monarch with her love and care for her grandchildren, but it was one that gave William and Harry a chance to mourn privately. Another aspect of William's grief journey that he shared with the public is how he found solace in nature, especially in the Scottish outdoors. After hearing the devastating news of his mother's passing, William was at Balmoral Castle, the royal family's residence in Scotland. In a speech many years later, William spoke about how the Scottish countryside offered him a sense of peace and refuge during those dark days. The service at Crathie Kirk that very morning, and in the dark days that followed, I found comfort and solace in the Scottish outdoors, William reflected. The beauty of the Scottish landscape provided him with an emotional escape, a place where he could process his feelings in peace, away from the chaos of royal duties and the media frenzy. For William, the hills and forests of Scotland became more than just a backdrop for his grief. They became a sanctuary, a place where he could feel a little closer to his mother and a little further from the overwhelming sadness that clouded his life at the time. This connection to Scotland remains significant for William even today. As an adult, he continues to speak fondly of the country, acknowledging that it holds both some of his happiest memories and some of his saddest. It was in Scotland that he first met his wife, Kate Middleton, and it remains a place where he and his family retreat for both joy and reflection. But the bond that William feels to Scotland, especially in the wake of his mother's death, is undeniable. The outdoor spaces offered him a break from the demands of royal life and gave him a safe place to process his grief. Changing narrative. Over time. For most of Prince William's life, the public rarely heard him speak about the tragic death of his mother, Princess Diana. His reluctance to address such a personal and painful loss became one of the mysteries of his royal life. Why did the heir to the British throne, often seen as open and approachable, choose to stay quiet about the death of the woman who had shaped much of his early years? For years, this silence sparked much speculation and curiosity among royal watchers and the general public. What was really going on behind closed doors? In the years following Diana's tragic passing in 1997, William, then just 15 years old, seemed to bury his emotions. Like many people who experience such an overwhelming loss at a young age, he was left to grapple with grief in a deeply private way. The media, in particular, was eager for any hint of what the prince might say about his mother's death. But William, who was just stepping into the role of a young royal, had other priorities. His focus, understandably, was on dealing with his grief in private. In the early years, his silence could have been attributed to a combination of personal choice and the nature of the royal family's approach to public life. The royal family, historically, has not been known for openly discussing personal emotions or grief. The Windsors, often seen as the epitome of stoicism, maintained a strong sense of duty, which meant that personal suffering was rarely displayed for public consumption. For William, this cultural expectation likely added to the weight of his grief. How could he speak openly about his mother when there were so many royal duties to attend to, and so many eyes watching him? However, as time passed, something began to shift. It's important to understand that Prince William, like many others who experience intense grief, likely found that bottling up emotions and avoiding the topic of his mother's death was not sustainable in the long term. And while he may not have been ready to open up immediately after Diana's death, it was clear that the pain of losing her would not simply fade away. It wasn't until much later that William began to speak more openly about his loss, showing a vulnerability that, in many ways, marked a significant departure from the usual royal behavior. It's important to highlight how, over time, William began to understand that sharing his grief wasn't a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. Slowly, but surely, he began to break his silence in public forums, making it clear that the boy who once kept his emotions hidden was now ready to talk about the pain he had carried for so many years. One of the most notable moments of this shift came when William joined his brother Harry in 2017 for a BBC documentary called Diana, 7 Days. This was a landmark moment because, for the first time, the two brothers were able to speak openly about their mother's death and the grief they had experienced in the years since. In the documentary, William admitted that he still struggled with the pain of her loss, revealing that even as an adult, the emotional scars remained. He also acknowledged how his mother's death had affected him in more profound ways than he had been able to express before. This was not the typical stoic royal response we were accustomed to seeing. It was raw, honest, and incredibly moving. But perhaps the most significant change in William's approach to discussing his grief came through his active involvement in mental health advocacy. In 2016, Prince William, along with his wife, Kate Middleton, and his brother Harry, launched the Heads Together campaign, a groundbreaking initiative aimed at promoting mental health awareness and encouraging open conversations about mental well-being. the campaign's core message was clear. It's okay to talk about your feelings, especially when you're going through tough times. For William, Heads Together represented more than just a charitable cause. It became an outlet for him to channel his own experiences of loss, grief, and mental health challenges into something positive. His decision to speak out about his own struggles, particularly his battle with grief after losing Diana, served as an inspiration to many. It also sent a powerful message to others who were silently suffering from their own mental health challenges. If the Duke of Cambridge, a member of the royal family, could talk about his emotions, then surely others could too. Through the Heads Together campaign, William made it clear that mental health was not a subject to be avoided or swept under the rug. He spoke about the importance of mental health care, particularly for men, who often feel societal pressure to hide their emotions and act tough. As part of the campaign, William, Harry, and Kate engaged in open discussions with mental health professionals and those who had personally experienced mental health challenges, offering both a platform for discussion and a sense of solidarity. William's personal involvement in Heads Together has undoubtedly helped shift the narrative around mental health within the royal family and beyond. He shared his experiences with the public, including how he had struggled with his emotions in the aftermath of Diana's death. He admitted that, for many years, he didn't allow himself to process his feelings properly. This, he explained, led to long periods of stress and anxiety, which is not uncommon for those who experience a deep and unresolved loss. In the years since, William has continued to be a vocal advocate for mental health, speaking candidly about the importance of dealing with grief in a healthy and constructive way. His openness about his own struggles has been a powerful example for others, especially for men who may feel societal pressure not to express vulnerability. By sharing his own grief journey, William has helped make the topic of mental health more approachable and less stigmatized, and in doing so, he has set an example for countless individuals who are navigating their own emotional challenges. William's evolving narrative, from silence to openness, has shown the world that it is okay to face difficult emotions and share them with others. He has gradually broken down the barriers that once kept him silent about his mother's death, showing that even someone in his position is not immune to the complexities of grief and loss. It is a journey that many can relate to, whether they are public figures or private individuals. William's decision to share his grief publicly is a reflection of the changing attitudes toward mental health and emotional well-being in society. What once was considered a private matter is now being discussed openly, thanks in no small part to William's efforts to break the stigma surrounding mental health. By opening up about his own experience, William has not only honored the memory of his mother, Princess Diana, but he has also given others the courage to confront their own emotional pain and find healing in the process. As we look to the future, William's ongoing work in mental health advocacy will undoubtedly continue to inspire others to share their stories and seek help when needed. Through his example, he has shown that while grief is a deeply personal journey, it's also a shared experience that connects us all. And in that shared experience, there is hope, healing, and strength. Insights into William's silence. Prince William's silence on the death of his mother, Princess Diana, has long been a subject of intrigue and speculation. While it's easy to assume that his quietness stems from simply being a private person, the reality is much deeper. There are multiple reasons behind why William has chosen not to openly discuss such a tragic event in his life. His silence isn't just about keeping personal emotions hidden. It's also about a mix of personal emotional considerations, strategic image management, and a deep respect for how grief affects individuals in unique ways. First and foremost, Prince William's decision to maintain privacy can be traced back to personal emotional reasons. The death of a parent, especially at a young age, is an overwhelming experience. William was just 15 when his mother passed away, and the emotional toll it took on him was immense. It's entirely understandable that, after such a traumatic event, he would feel the need to guard his emotions and avoid exposing them publicly. Grief, particularly when it involves the loss of someone as beloved as Princess Diana, is something that can't easily be shared in the public eye, especially when it's accompanied by the scrutiny and pressure that comes with being a member of the royal family. As William himself has expressed in various interviews, the initial shock left him feeling confused and disoriented, not knowing how to process such deep sorrow. For many people in similar situations, it's a natural instinct to retreat into privacy during such an emotionally charged time, and William's decision to do so was likely driven by the need to protect his emotional well-being. At the same time, Prince William's silence can also be seen as part of the royal family's strategy when it comes to managing their public image. The royal family has always been under intense public scrutiny, and their personal lives are often viewed through the lens of duty and tradition. By remaining somewhat private about his grief, William was, perhaps unconsciously, aligning with the royal tradition of keeping personal matters out of the public spotlight. Royals have long been expected to maintain a composed and controlled image, even in the face of tragedy. In the case of Diana's death, while the public mourned with the family, there was also an expectation that William, as the future king, would remain strong and dutiful. Public displays of grief were complicated by his royal status, and the family often finds itself in the delicate balance between showing emotion and fulfilling their royal roles. This sense of duty likely influenced William's decision to stay silent, at least publicly, as he navigated the immense personal loss while fulfilling his responsibilities. However, there is another layer to his silence: respect for the grieving process. Grief is not a one-size-fits-all experience. It affects people in different ways, and no two people cope with loss the same way. For Prince William, grieving his mother was undoubtedly a personal and private journey. He has been open about how difficult it was to find comfort in such a painful time, but he also emphasized how important it was for him to deal with his emotions on his own terms. This respect for personal grief is something that many can relate to, regardless of their status. People who go through profound loss often find solace in solitude or in other ways that may not be visible to the public eye. William's choice to not discuss his mother's passing immediately, or to do so selectively, highlights the understanding that grieving is something deeply personal. It's not something that can always be shared, especially when the world is watching. William's approach to grief, especially over the years, has been more about quietly honoring his mother's memory and legacy, rather than dwelling on the pain. He has started to speak about her death more openly in recent years, especially through his work with mental health initiatives like Heads Together. This shift has allowed him to frame his grief in a way that could help others who are struggling with loss, making it a way to connect rather than to publicly mourn. In doing so, he has gradually opened up about his emotions, but in a way that feels right for him, slowly and on his own terms. This speaks to a larger point about the royal family's evolving attitude toward mental health and emotions, with William becoming more of an advocate for others who may be grieving in silence, just as he did. The bottom line is that Prince William's silence about his mother's death should not be seen as indifference or avoidance. Instead, it reflects a complex mix of emotional protection, royal duty, and respect for the unique ways people grieve. It's a reminder that grief is not something that can always be shared in a public space. It's deeply personal and varies greatly from person to person. As time has passed, William and Harry would continue to carry the weight of their mother's death with them. For William, his grief was something he buried deep within himself for a long time. As a teenager, he felt the pressure to be strong and composed, both for his family and for the public. His duty as a future king meant that he couldn't afford to let his emotions take over. It was only much later, as an adult, that he began to open up more about his grief and the impact it had on him. The royal family's response to Diana's death was shaped by a complex mixture of personal grief and public duty. While the Queen's efforts to protect William and Harry were crucial during the early days, it was clear that there was no easy way for the young princes to process such a monumental loss. The experience of grief, especially for someone as young as William, is never linear. It is a journey that is personal, sometimes private, and often difficult to navigate. And for William, as he later acknowledged, it would be a long time before he could fully process the depth of his loss and what it meant for his life moving forward. Now, we want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Prince William's silence was the best way to cope with his grief? Or do you believe he should have spoken more openly about it? Drop a comment below to share your perspective. And if you enjoyed this video, Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might find this story just as captivating. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on more royal insights.